Alright, everyone. Hello. Hello, hello, hello. So, first of all, this isn't live commentary. This is kind of like afterthoughts. I was actually rendering out some videos, all the videos that you saw yesterday, the unboxings. I was actually rendering those out while recording this. So, can't record voice and render it out at the same time. Anyway, impressions for the Medal of Honor beta. Now, I played the first Medal of Honor like many other people did, the reboot back in 2010, yes. And it actually earned my reward for the most disappointing game of 2010. And I think the reason was solely because it was so overhyped and we all had high expectations, but what it ultimately delivered was pretty much a basic and it didn't fulfill on any of its experiences that really it was promised to deliver, so with this game they're kind of bringing it back with a bit much more emphasis on action, explosions, and the whole world is involved now. The whole thing is that you can choose your Warfighter from a different nation, and you have all these different nations that have these special military forces, and you can take part in them, and they all have different classes, what am I looking for here? Different abilities and perks that make them better than the other one. So I'm gonna turn down the volume here. But yeah. I played this game, and when they first announced it, and when I first saw gameplay, I was so disappointed. Once again, because it felt like it was. And here's a glitch. This is like a short glitch in the game that I was experiencing here, so that's why I'm gonna have to quit the game and I have to restart a new one. But the black screen. It's a beta. Things happen, I guess. What I was gonna say is that the game just looked really similar to Battlefield 3. And when you're playing this game, you're gonna say, "Wow, this looks incredibly similar to Battlefield 3." And the reason behind that is that not only is it built upon the Frostbite 2 engine, but they borrow from like the same animations as well. Like when you're on the ground proning, your character crawls just like your character would crawl in Battlefield 3. When you vault over stuff, just like you would in Battlefield 3, and it looks really similar. It's like they basically took the animations in there. Now, in an interview with Frank Goubeau, the president of Electronic Arts, he was saying that they're doing their best to create a good separation between the Battlefield series and the Medal of Honor series, because he was asked, "Aren't you worried about putting out the same stuff, and this kind of looks really similar to Battlefield?" He says that they really thought that they found a good separation or medium for both of these games to take place on the market. And it's kind of like, okay, fine, that's great at all that you believe that, but again, it's the same animations. So I mean, even some of the reloading animations are completely taken out. It's like, why? It just makes you feel like you're playing a different Battlefield game, or like a spin-off of a Battlefield game. It doesn't feel like it's its own game, which for some is going to be quite a turnoff. I know there's a lot of people who are probably going to look at this game and they're going to be like, it looks similar to Battlefield 3, and I didn't like the last Medal of Honor, so this one's going to be crap. Now, this beta is only available on the Xbox 360. Why they only chose to make it available on the Xbox 360 and not the other platforms, I don't have an answer for that. So, it being on the Xbox 360, I mean, I tested the original Medal of Honor beta out on the Xbox 360. This one handles much more smoother, much better. Definitely a huge improvement in terms of gameplay. It's a huge improvement. Now, I like the campaign a lot for the original Medal of Honor. I thought the campaign was really good. All right, and the reason behind that is because at the end of that campaign, they really made you feel like what you just experienced was an emotional storyline. And most of these war games where you're just killing waves and waves and waves of enemies forget to include you in this emotional in this emotional experience. And you know, a lot of games just say, oh, you know, you're just killing people. How are you supposed? You know, it's impossible to make the player care about who he's killing. It's like, no, it's actually not. You know, there's a lot of games that have a good storyline, but when it comes to their the emotional character interaction and relationship you have with everything in the game, the experience, it just gets left out. You know, you can have a great story, but if you don't feel for the characters, if you don't feel like you're part of that experience, then ultimately it turns out to be a complete letdown. So, but yeah, I mean, I thought that the campaign for the original Medal of Honor was good. I did. And I don't know if this one, the new one, is supposed to be like a revision of the campaign, if it's going to kind of continue where we're going to have like the same characters. I have no idea. But I just actually purchased Medal of Honor last week or a couple weeks ago on the PC on Origin. They're giving me a $10 off coupon or something like that, and I got it for free. So, right? I think I got it for free. I'm not really sure. I think it's like a 5% off coupon or something like that I had. So I used it on Medal of Honor because there was nothing else that was out there, and you couldn't actually use the coupon for pre-orders, unfortunately. And I just recently, after completing a survey for EA, I just recently got a $20 off any purchase coupon from Origin, which again you cannot use on pre-orders. Like, I would have used all these these coupons on the pre-order for Medal of Honor Warfighter, but they don't let you do that, unfortunately. EA wants their money. They're not going to give you coupons for a game that's not even out yet. So there's a recent deal on Amazon.com that you can actually pre-order the game for $50, and it was like a month ago or something like that. It only lasted for like 3 days. I had it pre-ordered originally, and then I said, you know what, this game isn't even worth $50 to me even. I mean, after playing it right now, I think the game has potential. I think it handles much more better than its predecessor. The only problem is that I just don't feel like this is a new game. I feel like it's a revision of Battlefield or some form of Battlefield. And if the animations were changed, if it didn't feel so fast-paced like that, I may have felt different towards it, but it just feels similar to it feels like I'm playing Battlefield 3 with Call of Duty controls, alright? Whereas the last one, Medal of Honor Warfighter, kind of felt like it wanted to bring Call of Duty, and Battlefield Bad Company, but it kind of failed because the controls were really sloppy. It wasn't an overall great controlling game. All right. Now this right here is what you guys are seeing is actually my first match of playing, so that's why I'm not as good. Actually, since then I've put in many more hours into it. I'm actually pretty good now. But the multiplayer is fun. It is fun. The unlock progression thing is kind of confusing at first, but then you kind of get used to it. When you first go into the menus, everything's confusing. You have like a bunch of little boxes that do all these, things that bring you to certain places. It looks confusing. And once you actually get your way around that, then it looks cool, and then you actually get to you're actually getting used to the whole menu system, and then everything operates well. But at first it's gonna look confusing because you have like all these different boxes everywhere that bring you to different places and do different things, and it looks kind of cluttered. I mean, even right there, look down there on the bottom of the screen, you have the battle log and all that stuff there. I mean, it's just odd. It's just a lot of stuff. They unfortunately only have one map available and one game mode for their multiplayer beta, which is kind of unfortunate because even though the map is kind of cool once you get used to it, it's not like this map is amazing to the point where you're not going to get bored. I thought they should have included at least 2 maps. That would have been nice, like at least 2 maps and like 2 game modes or something like that. But all we have here is this search and destroy mission thing. I forgot what it's really called, but it's like search and destroy. There's an objective, you have to destroy it, or if you have to defend it if you're on that team, and it's alright. I do like the kill cams though. If you look at the kill cams right here, they're really nice. They have a slow motion thing where they show your character outlined in red if he's behind walls. and it looks pretty cool. So this is still an arcade shooter, let me assure you. This is still a game that's gonna feel very arcadey to you. You know, it's kind of like how Battlefield 3 moved away from its roots. In my opinion, I think Bad Company 2 was the best Battlefield out there, and I don't even have any really high expectations for the newly announced Battlefield 4. I mean, because they announced Battlefield 4 like literally not even a year after Battlefield 3's release. You know, and that's a pre-order incentive when you get this game. And I just think that I think what EA is trying to do is another Call of Duty. You know, when you think about Call of Duty, and a lot of people, you know, are kind of fed up with it, because it's just been the same regurgitated system over and over and over again, you know, and it hasn't changed anything in terms of gameplay or really graphical style. I mean, the graphics had slight improvements, but it still looks the same, you know. And I think what everyone just looking at the gameplay, sorry. And I think the reason behind that is you have to think how Activision thinks. You know, you can't think like a gamer and just say, I want it to change. If it's not going to change, I'm not going to get it. This game sucks, you know, because it's not going to change. You have to think from Activision's point of view, alright? If you're going to break sales numbers with every consecutive release, then why would you put in more effort than you have to? I mean, seriously, let's think about this. If you're going to break sales records and be the best-selling game in the first 24 hours every single year, then why would you put in any more effort than what you had to do? So that's kind of like how you would, you know, view this game and EA and how they're handling, you know, the whole package and the gameplay style for this game. It's kind of like the same thing, or at least they're trying to do the same thing. So yeah, I think that's what EA is trying to do here, is that they're looking at Activision, and a lot of companies are doing, even Crytek with Crysis 3, you know, they're looking at Activision and they're saying, look, they're breaking sales records every single year with every consecutive release of Call of Duty, and they're not changing a damn thing. That makes perfect sense. If we can break sales records or change the game in a way that other people will be more interested in, you know, because let's be honest, the majority of people are interested in playing an arcade shooter over a simulator, you know. Same thing with racing games. People would rather play Need for Speed than Gran Turismo or Forza. You know, it's just that simple. People want to have fun, and I've spoken to a lot of my friends about, you know, their style of play and everything like that. You know, the majority of them don't care about a story, don't care about an experience. You know, they want to have fun overall. You know, and I'm kind of taking this much more seriously. You know, I'm just a serious person when it comes to gaming overall. You know, I want to experience something great. I want to take part in an incredible story mode that I feel engaged in. I want to feel for the characters. I want that emotional part of me manipulated and changed completely because I care about, you know, what's going on in the story. It's like Heavy Rain, you know. I appreciate games like Heavy Rain. And you know, and then you have these other games that don't do such a good job. Trying to think of one here. For example, like Battlefield 3's campaign. Alright, which I actually just played again recently because I did buy Battlefield 3 on the PC for an amazing deal of $10. Because I think it was like 2 months ago or something like that. It was Battlefield's, I want to say 20th year anniversary, or not 20 year, 10-year anniversary. So they're like, hey, you know, enjoy Battlefield 3 for $10, and all these other Battlefield games for like cheap. So I went ahead and bought Battlefield 3 for $10 on my PC because I wanted to see how the graphics looked. Really, that was like the main thing. And I played the campaign, and the thing about Battlefield 3 is I think that campaign would have been incredible if it made you really understand the whole aspect of war, the emotional part of it, if you actually felt for all the soldiers that died there and you felt like you were a part of that experience, that would have been great. But let's be honest, Battlefield as well as Call of Duty are built from the ground up to be extensive multiplayer games played for hours. All right, that's why Battlefield 3 has a bunch of unlocks and a bunch of rankings that's like impossible. It takes you months to like unlock anything. And that's why, you know, Call of Duty has their prestiging, where you can prestige 10 times, you can do the same stuff over and over and do all these classes. It's built from the ground up to be a multiplayer game. And let's be honest, in today's world, it's hard to find a company that makes a good campaign. And this is why I do campaign reviews, because in my opinion, multiplayer is kind of like an added bonus. If you can work as hard as you want on your multiplayer mode, you can work creating beautifully illustrated maps, really great game modes, and some really amazing co-op experience. You can create all that, all right, for your multiplayer game. But if you don't have players to support everything that you just created, then that mode deems useless. I mean, think about it. If no one's going to play the multiplayer in a multiplayer game, then what's the point of that game? And that's the thing, because companies are risking, they're risking their effort and their work and their whole game, the value of their game, on whether people are going to play the multiplayer or not. Which is kind of why the original Medal of Honor, even though sold the original Medal of Honor sold like 4.5 million copies or something like that. It sold well, all right, even though it wasn't like that much. But I think that's why a lot of people didn't. Or that's why it was hard to find people who enjoyed the multiplayer, because it was built by DICE, first of all, and DICE is a master at making some really squad-based multiplayer big maps, for a large populated multiplayer. And it's kind of like you're playing Battlefield on small maps, and it didn't work out, So if no one's going to play the multiplayer mode for your game, and you spent all this time working on it, then you just wasted your complete time. Not to mention, building a campaign is far more amount of work than building a multiplayer mode. Multiplayer just had to create maps, create your game modes, copy and paste the gameplay over from your story campaign and just put it in there. But again, you have to rely on the players to play it or not. And when it comes to campaign, it's always there, and campaign takes a lot more work because you have to hire voice actors. You have to actually write a story. There's motion capture involved. There is different set pieces and explosions and cutscenes and 3D models and characters and all this stuff that you have to create. And I'm a campaign guy just because, I like to experience, something incredible. There's a lot of games that can do both, campaign and addictive, fun multiplayer. Uncharted, even Call of Duty has always had a good campaign, in my opinion. The only Call of Duty campaign that I really didn't like was World at War. That was, in my opinion, the worst Call of Duty. Actually, no, Call of Duty 3 was the worst Call of Duty. Call of Duty 5 did an awful job, in my opinion. I didn't like it at all. But most of all, with the exception of Call of Duty World at War and in Call of Duty 3, I thought that the campaigns for both of those games were incredible. Or I'm sorry, for the rest of those games were incredible. Like the Modern Warfare series. Hey, you may not like the multiplayer or you may not like Call of Duty, but that campaign is amazing. There's no doubting that. It's a well-written campaign, set pieces, explosions, characters that you actually feel for. I mean, we've been with Captain Price for like ever, and it was such an amazing campaign that I really had a good time. Even that ending, even Makarov from Modern Warfare 2, all these characters, it feels like the sequel to a really good movie. And I think Battlefield's kind of struggling that because even the Bad Company series, I don't like the campaign of that much. I didn't like it. I just thought it was boring. I just didn't really like it at all. I just don't know. I just didn't like the campaign. It didn't really feel like the characters were, you know, that well, not relatable, but you know, were just that interesting. I just didn't really feel for the whole campaign in the Bad Company series. You know, I only played Bad Company 2. I didn't play the original Bad Company, but there needs, in my opinion, I think Medal of Honor is trying to find an identity for itself, and it's struggling to find a clear identity for itself. It wants to be the perfect mix between Call of Duty and Battlefield, yet it kind of feels like it wants to be Battlefield, but not as intuitive, or just not as, I don't know. I want to say as simulation, but Call of Duty, I mean Battlefield 3 was really, in all essence, I didn't feel like that was a simulated game. You know, I didn't feel like that Battlefield 3 simulated war at all. You know, I thought the dust particles, everything, that was cool. The blur effects, that was nice. But the game was so fast paced and such a turn from the series' original roots, you know, and so different from Battlefield 3, that I just thought it was trying to be more arcadey. It was trying to mimic Call of Duty, but put it in like a Battlefield-like essence. So, I mean, there's a lot of stuff. I mean, these days, it's hard to find a game that's trying to be different and not try to be or imitate some other experience. A complete original game from the ground up. It's hard to find a game like that, you know? Even some of the best games I played all year. Binary Domain, you know? Amazing campaign. Still my pick for Game of the Year. But at its core, it wants to be Gears of War. You know, that gameplay is incredibly similar to Gears of War. Dishonored, too. And I hate to say it, because Dishonored is an incredibly original game. And even from the control standpoint, but it's trying to blend your experience. It's trying to mimic the experience from the original BioShock. Basically create that feeling that this is something incredible, this is something new that I've never seen before. It's trying to do that, but it's trying to also be Deus Ex, and then kind of putting some Assassin's Creed in there with some Thief as well. That's all these games are trying to kind of mimic each other, or at least borrow from one another, which is fine, because you know, if you're gonna borrow, you might as well borrow from the best, you know. So, I mean, I don't know. In my opinion, I mean, I love gaming either way. It's just a fantastic hobby, and it's just something that I just love since I was a kid. You know, I'm speaking from gaming on the N64, which in my opinion is still one of the best consoles to this day. The N64 was an amazing console. The last console by Nintendo that I think was actually great, you know. And then I had the original PS1, I had the PlayStation 2, and now I have the Xbox 360, Wii, and PlayStation 3. So, I mean, I love gaming either way. And is this game completely mimicking Battlefield to the point where it's not, you know, to the point where it's just not going to be fun, like you're gonna constantly being reminded that you're playing something else like Battlefield 3? No, this game, it's fun to play. You know, even on a console with its subpar 30 frames per second. I mean, I'm sorry, this isn't a smooth 30 frames per second. Most of the time it's smooth, don't get me wrong. Most of the time it's a consistent 30 frames. But really, to be honest, to completely be honest with you, sometimes it'll dip to like 25 and it'll just be like stuttering up and down. So, and I think EA already announced this is also going to be a 2-disc game, you know, which to my surprise, it's like, and same thing with Battlefield 3. It's like, how can Battlefield 3 look worse than Bad Company 2 by default without the high-res texture packs? And I'm not talking about the install it to your hard drive and get the high-res texture packs. No, that was stupid, first of all, because I didn't understand how Battlefield 3 could have looked worse than Bad Company 2, even on 2 discs, you know? and it shows you like and when you open Battlefield 3 on the Xbox 360, the first disc 1 out of 2 was the multiplayer. The campaign was on disc 2. It shows you the amount of effort that they put into that game. The first disc was multiplayer, not the second one. Usually it's here's your campaign and here's, you know, your multiplayer. Like that would be like the more appropriate way to do it, but again, it was built from the ground up to be a multiplayer game. So, I think the game plays well though. Medal of Honor, Warfighter plays well. The graphics are decent on the console. I mean, I don't know. I was some parts of the world look unrendered, and I think that was just because, you know, I was starting. Maybe I just spawned, and maybe it was still loading the textures. But most of all, it looks good. You know, of course, this is going to be a PC game for me. Of course, it is. And unless I can somehow find a consistent group of people on like back with Bad Company 2. Goat the Great and Sun Twisted and I, we all would jump into Bad Company 2, and that we kind of had like our own squad. Those were like really great times, you know. Some of the best moments I had of gaming were, you know, just playing Bad Company 2 with Goat the Great and Sun Twisted, you know. But it's like right now I think we're struggling to find a game that we can both, you know, we can all play like on a consistent basis, especially with you know, Goat's schedule, which is great. You know, he's having a really successful time in his life right now, which is fantastic, and I'm glad he's actually doing stuff out there. What I'm saying is that I think we're having trouble finding a game that we can all enjoy as thoroughly as we did with Bad Company 2. That's what I'm saying, you know, because Bad Company 2 was an amazing multiplayer game to begin with. Not to mention, when you had friends in there, it was just incredible. And I think Battlefield 3 kind of was going with the lone wolf kind of thing, with the fast-paced combat, you know. And I really hope that, I mean, I don't know, I think Battlefield 4, which really I don't think should be out already. I think they should have worked on Bad Company 3, you know. Well, I mean, where's Bad Company 3? Are we gonna see that this generation at all? You know, it's like, come on, give us Bad Company 3, please. DICE. Give us Mirror's Edge, for God's sakes. Mirror's Edge 2. But I mean, that's what I'm saying. I'm just surprised that they're working on Battlefield 4 but not Bad Company 3. And I think actually it has to do with EA as well. I think EA's sitting there and saying, people, Battlefield 3 had really successful sales. I think they sold like 5 million or something like that. Really successful sales. We need you to work on Battlefield 4. We want it to come out in 2013, by the end of 2013, and you know, we have Medal of Honor coming out, so let's just put the beta in there with Medal of Honor. That way we can improve sales for Medal of Honor, because believe me, there's going to be people who buy this game just for the Battlefield 4 beta, and that is stupid. That is complete, like, fanboyism and serious. I can't fathom that. I'm gonna pay $60 for a beta, but not even though I'm not interested in the game that it comes with. You know, it's odd. A lot of people did that with Crackdown, the original Crackdown. When the Halo 3 beta was announced to come with the original Crackdown, you think people bought that game because they really cared about Crackdown? I mean, seriously. It kind of sucks, but you know, this stuff happens, unfortunately, and you know, this is just people being stupid. It happens all the time in the world. People being stupid. I'm gonna pay $60 for a beta that I'm gonna have like that's probably gonna come out like 2 weeks before the game's out. You know, it's stupid. I don't know why these companies keep calling this a beta. Like, this is supposed to be a multiplayer beta. You finished your game 2 months ago. Developers usually finish their game like 2 months before the actual release date. Then it gets sent out to, then it gets tested, you know, and then it gets sent out to a lot of critics like IGN, GameSpot, and you know, all those companies. It gets sent out to them so they get to play it for like a while, and then they get to give their review. So But I just like, this is a multiplayer beta, really? Why not just call it a multiplayer demo? I mean, why do you have to be like, oh, it's a beta? You know, and this, I may be wrong. Like, this may be the actual beta for the game that they've actually, you know, similar to like Battlefield 3, how they gave us the beta, even though like the game was in perfect condition by the time the beta came out, you know? It's just stupid, so. But I think this game handles well. Am I going to buy it on release day? Hell no. You know, still, this thing hasn't... I still don't feel comfortable at all purchasing this game for $60 on release day. I'm sorry, you know. However, I think, like I said, when I originally gave this game the price of $30, I would pay $30 for it. I think that's an appropriate price for this game. So that's it, guys. I think it's good. Again, it's nothing that we haven't seen before. It's just another first-person shooter, I'm afraid. You know, that's all. So thank you all for watching this. Let me know what you think about Medal of Honor if you played the beta, and if you haven't played the beta, let me know what whether you're getting it or not, why or why not, and that'll be it. Alright guys, bye.